Well, hello everyone. Welcome to a midday afternoon edition of the Missing Links post-game live stream podcast thing. I'm Andrew Dukowitz. Sorry for the delay. Camera issues. For some reason, my camera did not want to start. That is the last time I will be doing post-game press conferences from the comfort of my couch, because apparently if I unplug my camera, everything just goes to pots. Anyways, fun game to talk about today. Lynx beat the Chicago Sky 85-75. I will warn everyone, I am solo today. Guest had to cancel at the last second. Perks of being a beat writer is life changes on a dime. But 85-75 win over the Sky. Honestly, all things considered, it was really gross. let's just admit that part first. What they finished with 20 turnovers, I believe. 19 turnovers, just shy of 20. 19 assists as well, which 19 assists on 32 baskets. That's just a weird. This isn't what we've seen from the Lynx the last couple seasons. It's been a lot more, 75 to 80% assist percentage on baskets. Also, just like the fouling, 24 fouls from the Lynx, 46 total, which for those of you who are in the same boat as me, when there's more than a foul a minute, any basketball game, whether it's the Wolves, the Lynx, Gophers, NBA, WNBA, it doesn't matter. I don't know how you get rhythm. Like when you're having a whistle, and I should say that 46 fouls, but also multiple stoppages of plays, reviews. I don't know how you can get a rhythm, which I think does work out a little bit for the Lynx because they have Court who can just run a quick pick and roll and get to the mid range and score at will. Liv is a really good play runner, organizer. So maybe this disjointed gameplay that we're seeing is actually helping the Lynx a little bit. But just from a pure basketball standpoint, I am going to continue belly aching about the amount of fouls until it's fixed, because good grief, that was a slog today, just with the amount of stoppages. But again, 19 turnovers. I think we can kind of say this was the worst game we've seen out of Olivia Miles so far. Her second worst game was also against also to the Chicago Sky just about a week ago. So it's, there might be something to the length that Cheryl Reeve talked about, the ability for Cardosa to just get into some gaps and just kind of muck things up that way, that take away the passing lanes. Miles finishes with 5 turnovers, career high. She probably could have had 7 or 8. She got bailed out once with a kickball. There was another pass that went pretty wild that deflected and the Lynx were able to get it. Overall, you look at her game though, 14 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 of 14 shooting. That passes the Andrew Wiggins stat line of, points and shots are equaling. So it's not the worst game in the world, but again, the 5 turnovers, the 3 fouls, the length really looked to bother her. And interestingly, after the game, I don't know who asked it because I'm not in Chicago, obviously, with my background in the back. But I thought there was a good question that was asked about just you Liv passing up shots and being too kind of playmaking focused. And Cheryl joked of can you tell Liv that? Because, Cheryl, it sounds like she's on Liv about taking more of her own number as well. Noticed it again from 3-point range tonight, where Natasha Cloud would get switched onto her and Tosh would just give her 6 feet of space and Liv would be a little hesitant, which some of that is, being a pass first point guard, being a playmaker. The other part of that is, the 3-point line's a little bit longer in the WNBA. And Liv, I again, if you look at her college stats, the last 2 years she played, it was that of a good shooter, but she's also not been a good shooter the first 2.5 years of her career. So I do think there is some weirdness there. Derek, appreciate you. Sideline vibes. Cheryl loves the grind. Yep, this is Cheryl. I think will have plenty of things to bring on tape about why this game should have went a different way. But at the end of the day, this is the rock fights that Cheryl and the Lynx have just been unbelievable at pulling out over the last couple of years. Just again, like this, the players on the team change, but the identity still kind of remains the same with Court and K-Mac. And eventually when Fee comes back, catching up on stats, chat a little bit more. Demark brings up, would love to upgrade from Hoff so that our bigs can sit down for a second. Also acknowledges that she's a developmental player. Yeah, I think Hoff, I get the vision with her because, you know, a lot of those players that are coming over from Europe a little bit later have these reputations of being accomplished players over there. And like Hoff does seem to have like a good personality and be like an adult, which goes a long way. Especially for a team that got significantly younger, but just rough minutes from her tonight. Six minutes, scores 2 points, gets 2 turnovers, three fouls, and the tech. Just yeah, I mean, there's someone that asked on Twitter during the game of just like, are the Lynx going to get more front court? And I'll be honest, I don't think they're going to until Fee and Dorka are back. But again, you had like Liatu playing center at one point tonight. I think I saw her out there as, or I guess Coffee was the center, maybe. That's tough. It gets a lot easier when Fee and Dorka are back, even if they're back on a minutes restriction. I think things change pretty quickly for this team, but right now they are just scrapping these wins out. And tonight was one of them. Jude, before the podcast started, Tosh is locked in. Yep. Awesome Tosh game. 26 points, 22 in the first half, 9 rebounds in the first half. She was awesome. I mean, in the second half, you saw they were bringing doubles to her and she was just making the right pass. Just play after play. Again, my nitpick with her game so far in this experience has been the turnovers. She did have another 3 turnovers tonight. But overall, like awesome Tosh game. Awesome. Jude also mentions Nia needs some time off. Yes. Yeah, it looks like her shoulder's held on by literal tape. That was medical tape with gauze underneath it. Like that's a tough way to play basketball. And then Jude's last comment before we started here was just grading on a curve. Turns out to be a bad game for Liv and we're going to be fine. Like, yeah, that was kind of my takeaway from this game. It's just like they Court 8 for 18, didn't have a particularly good game until she dropped 6 points in the final, 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. K-Mac was not having a good game until she hit a couple back-to-back threes in the fourth quarter. It was really just like scrapping the entire first half. I'd even say the first 3 quarters. And then Chicago goes on that run and the players that you pay to be the vets on this team just step up and kind of knock Chicago back down to where they end up finishing down 10. Chuckle, love Court being at the 2 spot. Completely agree with you. We're bouncing around a little bit here as I get caught up with chat, but like Court as the shooting guard has been awesome. Like she's been a really good defender, had that kind of mid-range dagger that she hit, then steals the inbound pass. Like you don't know if that's something she would be doing if she was the point guard. Like you don't know if she'd be that aggressive in that spot. You don't know if she'd be kind of lingering back because her matchup was inbounding the ball. Just like it was a really savvy decision by Cheryl. I know in the offseason, a lot of the talk was after Liv got drafted was how are these two going to coexist? Like turns out just fine. Like it has turned out that they exist great. Jude mentions Hoff will be okay later in the season. I do agree. And I'll be honest, like when this team's at full strength and you have Fee, Natasha Howard as your starting front court, and then you have Kosu, Dorka, and Coffee as the 3 front court forward center, whatever you want to call them, because I think Coffee and Ola are both going to see time at 3 at some point this season. But like when they get healthy, they're going to have 5 legitimate bigs before they have to go to Hoff, or at least legitimate post players. And like Hoff is a developmental contract. Like if they expected her to be significantly better than a developmental contract, you probably have Eliska on the developmental and Hoff signed to the regular roster. So I think she'll be fine a little bit later. Jude also averaged even having Kosu would have helped a bit. Yeah. Which shout out, I think his username is Tony Romy. No, Tony. I think that's what it is. It's some play on Tony Romo, but like seconds into media day, Ola talked about how she prefers playing the 4, and he tweeted out like immediately of little did she know she'd be playing the center, and she ended up playing center in the last game. So shout out to that guy for reading the script way ahead of time. Truckin gives us an X Lynx update. Shepard, really good game. So did T. Land struggling. Land's been the one that, you know, I hesitate to say she was like a system player because I do think Land is a really good basketball player, but like she does need a defensive system that's kind of built around her. I don't know how much we want to get into like the Land side of this, but like, with the Lynx, they had a system where they had really good guard defenders that just funneled everything baseline and sideline. So when players were attacking Land, a lot of times it was from under the basket or from like a wing position, because Land does best when she kind of has that out of bounds line to force players to. And then she kind of struggled when people were just getting straight line dives at her. So the Lynx developed this defense to really just not allow people to get a huge head of steam at Land. And in Dallas, from the 3 games that I've watched, the Lynx game, and then a couple of the other games that I've caught pieces of or watched quarters of, like, it just seems like it's a runway at her, and they are expecting Land to be, Asia Wilson, and Lan isn't the same defender as Asia Wilson. Like, I think if you threw Asia in the system that Lan played last year, she could probably hold her own. But if you put Lan on Vegas, like, you're probably not seeing the same defensive strength from Lan. So I hope Dallas figures it out, because like it's been bad, and offense, between the missed layups, the turnovers, and then Lan has been fouling a lot. Like, it's tough to, as somebody that personally enjoys Lan as a person, it sucks to see her struggling. But at the same time, like, I think after everybody signed for bigger money, one of them wasn't going to work out and would probably really hurt a team with their contract. So it's nice to see T getting good run and getting some confidence. Jess is just awesome. Dejanay, we'll see what she looks like when she comes back. Bridget's been awesome. Like, it's nice to see them shining, I guess, is the moral of it. Truckin adds Chikova, big loss. Completely agree. Also says it'd be nice to see Caldwell get more consistent playing time. Don't disagree with you there at all. I also don't know if the Wings coach trusts Lan or anyone on that team, to be completely honest. Truckin, and you bring up Masha as well. Masha currently is opting out of the season, I believe. The Tempo extended the qualifying offer to her, and she didn't sign it. So until she plays a season with the Tempo, she's under contract there, unless they trade her rights. Would it be unheard of for like Cheryl to trade a 3rd round pick to the Tempo and get Masha's rights, and then Masha's just like with the team later this year? Certainly could be. I also think it's just undersold, like, how hard it is to, like, her year last year, she goes to LA, is in training camp with the Sparks, gets released, comes to the Lynx, plays the whole season with the Lynx, then goes back to Russia to win a championship with Russia and in the Russian league. And like, she has young kids. Like, I wouldn't blame her if she was like, I don't want to go play in Toronto right now. let's have a summer off. Truckin, I want to get this question we'll get to a little bit more, and people in the chat love to hear your thoughts as well. But ideal top 9 players when Fee and Dorka return. That's something I actually wanted to touch on today, because I said it after the last pod, but Natasha Howard, I think, is your starting center now. I don't see a world where, after these type of performances, where she has been so excellent on offense and she's been such a good anchor on defense, that you could put Dorka in as the starting center over her, which That was not my opinion at the beginning of the season. I thought for sure, like, Dorka, EuroLeague MVP, knows the system. It's at least some continuity. Like, she's actually played minutes with players on the roster. But Tasha's been awesome. So I honestly think your starters, when everyone's back and healthy outside of Emma, of course, I honestly think it's like Derek, Masha didn't sign because she needs a pathway to befriend a cow. She'll have no choice but to return when Cheryl's able to secure that audience with the call. I mean, State Fair starts this weekend, and I was devastated that Masha didn't get to walk around cows with the stud buds. She seemed genuinely devastated. Let's get them on the horn and figure out how to do this. Anyways, back to starting lineups. Like, I think it's Tosh and Fee as your starting front court, obviously, which admittingly, like, having Tosh as your starting center brings some of the similar problems on defense as like Lan being your starting center. Like, you can oh God, you're right. Not this. It's May. It's only May, guys. I'm sorry. But like, I think if you have Dorka off the bench, you at least have that size that you can go to. Again, against teams like Chicago or New York, is it going? You're right. State Fair's in 3 months. You're right. Why did I think it was this weekend? I need multiple naps. But with that front court, you probably have the same problems against, your Jonquel Jones, Vegas, when Asia's just cooking and going to the basket. Chicago probably gives them trouble. Seattle, when they get their front court kind of synergized up. Like, I think you do have that similar problem, but now you just have a different card you can go to off the bench where, you're thinking of, hey, we can at least go, Tosh, Fee, and Dorka as a super big lineup, and there's more size than when it was Jess and Lan out there. That being said, I just think production it's just too much to pass up. On the offensive side, Tosh has been excellent as a pick and roll partner, and on the defensive side, she's been just fantastic, kind of cleaning up messes from the guards. So Tosh and Fee, that's who I would pencil in there. The next three, I think they keep the same, like Liv, Court, and Mac. Again, that doesn't really help with this team might be undersized problems. Like, you're going to be starting 2 point guards. Well, Courtney's a 2 guard, but she's point guard sized. And Mac has been a shooting guard for the last like 4 years. Like, it's kickoff weekend to the fair. My wife updates me. So bad intel is what we'll chalk this one up to. Shout out Kelsey Dukowitz, who has her actual name as her YouTube. Appreciate that. But the bench is going to be interesting because I do think Nia has to get minutes. She's been arguably the best glue player on this team so far. I think Dorka has to get minutes. Like, you extensively let either Masha, Lan, or Jess go to have minutes and a spot for Dorka to come back and play. I know salary wise things are just a little different, but like, if they expected Dorka to be bad, they probably don't protect her. And then like Masha's back here on a veterans minimum would be my guess. So I think she's in it. And then you got Maya Caldwell. She's been looking really good. She's probably your backup guard. And then you just have one of Liv or Court on the court at all times as the point guard. And you don't really have a point guard off the bench, which, if you look at this team, they don't really have a point guard, like, period, off the bench. Like, Aliska, I guess, is, you could consider a point guard, but she's young and inexperienced. Tony is more of an off guard, like BC type of player. So that's going to be interesting to see how they navigate it, because if one of them gets hurt, or if the gelling just takes a weird turn at some point, like, their point guard depth is non-existent, kind of how I would categorize it, behind those top two, which, again, when the season's rolling, like, being able to alternate those two and have Courtney Williams attack backup point guards is going to be a cheat code for this team. But admittingly, it's a little thin there. And then, if you're going top 9, I still like Ola being in that top 9 as the ninth player. So you'd have in any given, or well, probably in this exact order, like Nia, Dorka, Maya, and then Ola coming off the bench, just because Ola gives you so much like strength. Does have to work on the fouling. She is a non-existent 3-point shooter right now. That, developing that a little bit would be pretty good for her. I think getting like a mid-range game, but like think you can live with that if that's your top 9 and you only have one player that you're sitting there really hemming and hawing over, and all of the other 9 players other than Liv have like some semblance of playoff experience and like meaningful minutes in playoff games. Like you're feeling great, which I think that's the part with this season that's just so weird right now is, I think I said it before the season started. If this team can be 500 when Fee and Dorka come back, you're probably ecstatic. They're 4-2 right now, and Fee and Dorka might be back in like 2 weeks, which I mean, if this team's like like 7-3 with Fee and Dorka coming back, I think even me as the hopium optimist undersold how good this Lynx team could be, which I think somebody said it in the chat of just the Cheryl Reeve effect of these things of, this is Cheryl Reeve. Like she just figures out a way to scheme players into a really good situation. And even with so much newness, they're just able to make it work, which I'm going to throw us over to a quick ad read. And then if anyone has questions in the chat, feel free to throw them in there. If you have comments, anything like that, would love to get to them before we get out of here. But I do have some other thoughts just about Chicago when we do come back. Well, hello. Thank you, Livestream Andrew. This is Ad Read Andrew. And today we have Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, the presenting sponsor for the Missing Links podcast. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling strives to inspire people to follow their ideas, working with respect and understanding to create a quality, tailored result. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, located in Blaine and serving in the North Metro area, is here to help you with your building and remodeling needs. I can say personally, thanks to Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, I have a beautiful deck in my backyard and countless projects that I started, they finished. Get started on your new deck or remodel today by calling Isaac at 763-710-5686. And we're back with another ad read. This time for Pence Homes, the presenting sponsor of Hitting the Hardwood Network. From the best tools and technology to transparency throughout the entire process, Nate Pence and the Pence Homes team is the top choice for buyers, sellers, and is proud to support you and your home ownership goals. Get started today by calling 612-308-1122 or by emailing info@pencehomes.com. Shout out Firehawk Construction and Pence Homes. Good time to buy a house. I think it's a buyer's market, seller's market. I don't understand real estate. Sorry, Nate Pence tried to be going off the cuff there, but it is deck season. So if you do need your deck redone or you need some work on your deck, Firehawk Construction, always recommending them. Eddie in the chat says at least Tosh scores. Land didn't give you much offensive production. Correct. Especially last year where she's shooting around 50% from the free throw line and the 3-point ball just fell off pretty abruptly. Also says Tosh needs to stay in the starting 5. Coffee goes to the bench probably. Agreed. Did want to just bring up a bugaboo from this game that is something that I continuously kind of get shocked by, of just the bench played 40 minutes tonight and they scored 7 points. And again, in an ideal world, when people are healthy, this isn't going to be the bench. I would be surprised at this point if Liatu or Hoff or Tony at this point, honestly. Caldwell, I think, is kind of proven a more consistent player at this point in her career than Tony. So, like, you're only one of those 4 players are probably playing when this team's full strength. But, man, 7 points in 40 minutes is just not not going to do it. I mean, if you extrapolate that out and consider the bench as a unit, as a starter, they were outscored by Nia Coffey, and Coffey played 15 less minutes. They like, that's just something that is a little obnoxious at this point in the season, that the bench just isn't able to really get anything going. And that the I'll be honest, the thing that surprises me the most is like the bench really doesn't, they don't even really shoot, which I know that's been something that Cheryl has talked about kind of indirectly a couple times about like the bench hesitancy, but bench in 40 minutes took 7 shots, which again, if you're going off the Andrew Wiggins scale, 7 points on 7 shots, like that's technically not bad. But in 40 minutes, you just need more production. Like you need 12, 13, 14 shots, and you need to get double figures off your bench, especially in the WNBA where this foul issue is still continuing on. It's something it's something that I'm going to be keeping my eye on at least until Fee and Dorka come back, of just at some point that's going to rise its head as more of a problem where opponents are just going to stop guarding these bench players. Caldwell obviously made Toronto pay in the last game, but like until Tony, until King, until Hoff, until Kosu are able to really give some juice, it's just hard to see, where the impact is going to be, which then puts, K-Mac is playing 35 to 40 minutes. Court is playing 30 to 40 minutes. Whoever brought up the front court help, like Tosh and Nia are going to be playing absurd amount of minutes. It's just a shallow team right now, which again, 2 weeks from now, if Fee and Dorka are back, then that problem's in the rear view mirror and you move on with it. But did think that was at least something notable. If you go over to their fouls, by the way, they had 9 fouls, so they outscored themselves 9 fouls to 7 points. Also had 5 turnovers, so 7 points to 5 turnovers. Not ideal. Only 2 assists as well, so even the ball movement with them kind of reflects how weird it is. We did get some chats though. First off, Demark wants to know about the tension between live stream Andrew and ad read Andrew. Ad read Andrew, that guy's from a year ago, so at some point the tension might flare when I eventually record ads. Also ads hoping Liatu is in the plans longer term. I don't know. I think with these developmental spots, unfortunately, they might be more of like, because what do you, when they play their 12 games and you no longer can play them, like what do you do? Like let's say Hoff plays her 12 games by middle of July, and then you just have 2.5 months where you just don't have an ability to play her. Like I almost wonder if these players don't show kind of a reason to keep them around if they're going to end up just being waived by mid-season and then someone else will get brought in. I hope that's not the case for Liatu. Like she does a ton of stuff with like the hearing impaired community. Both of her parents are deaf. She's a big sign language advocate, like really cool story. So from like a writing covering the team perspective, would love to have her around. She's also a pretty darn good basketball player, but I just wonder what the future of those are going to be. DeMarc also adds, definitely could have used Ola to get the bench some life. Agree. Jude adds in Emma's roster spot needing to be filled at some point. Like, yeah. And honestly, like Cheryl, if you're listening, like maybe you could get Masha for that 3rd round pick, get Emma's contract delayed, and then you just bring Masha in on that minimum, and who knows, like maybe that's a play. I almost think they need more point guard depth at this point, which, Jalen Sherrod's still out there. There are some names that you could probably get for a vet minimum, but it honestly all comes down to like, 1, when that gets cleared by the league, and 2, how fast Fee and Dorka are coming back. Like again, if they're both going to be in the lineup by June 2nd, maybe you keep that roster spot open a little bit. You let the league take their time with giving you the injury exception cap space back and you sign a point guard at that point. Or it is going to be interesting. Someone will be added to this team, which I think opens up quite a few doors. Jude also Jude also adds, I think Cheryl is going to do a lot more of a rotation in games with bench minutes. I do think that's likely as well. I think there's just a lot of things to figure out by the playoffs. Like, again, I would expect Fee to get quite a bit of run with the starters when she comes back, but then it's like, who are your players off the bench? Like, what's your rotations that you trust? She also has just a different lineup where she's able to go, bigger or smaller. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if she does test things out and tweak things. And I think Liv gives them a little bit more ability to do that as well, because she can just kind of figure out how to make things work. That sounds like a shot at Courtney, but like, Courtney, I think, needed to have a certain amount of structure in the game for her to be successful in finding her reads, and needed that chemistry where she knew where people were going to be. I think Liv is just a computer brain. Like, you can just kind of throw her out there with 4 random pickup players, and by the end of the quarter, she'll probably have most of them figured out, which kind of goes back to like, this is the worst game of the season for her, and she still was like on triple double watch and put together a pretty good stat line, which going to be weird evaluating her all season, because if this is the lows that she's going to have, where Cheryl says, the rookie struggled, it's going to be fun. Eddie adds Shug Sutton would be better than Sherrod. I like Jalen, so but yeah, I think that's where we'll leave it today. Appreciate everybody coming in here for a live stream. Thanks for putting up with me doing a solo episode. We will be back on, oh gosh, they don't play until Wednesday. Is that right? Now I got to bring up my, excuse me. Now I got to bring up my document here, because goodness gracious. Yeah, they don't play again till Wednesday. And Cassidy from the Star Trib is going to be joining me again after that game. I would expect they're going to be practicing on Monday and Tuesday, so I'll have plenty of clips and sounds and stuff coming out on X and over on TikTok, Buzzer, all of those places. But thanks everyone for listening. If you came into this late, as always, you can find the full episode over on YouTube. It's also over on Buzzer now, new social media app. You can find me under my normal handle, just a Duke Yamen over there. And it will come out as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts tomorrow, Sunday at 7 a.m. Thanks again, everyone, for joining. And man, it's so awkward ending these when you're solo, but I appreciate all of y'all, and I'll see you on Wednesday.